How you doing, Dior?
Hey, what's going on? Doing good, man. Doing good.
Nothing.
Just hanging out, man. Just self-quarantining for I got
Me
I
too.
got 4 more days since I arrived from Indonesia back to California, so I got to finish up my self-quarantining.
Okay. Same here in Jakarta. So, what have you been up to lately?
Man, just taking this all in, this change that we're in across the world with the COVID-19, man. Just taking it all in and trying to keep myself busy at home. Just like listening to music, doing chores around the house that I never got a chance to get to.
Yeah.
Going outside and exercising like around the neighborhood or in my backyard, and just taking it day by day, man.
Okay. Hey, first of all, let me congratulate you for being elected as a Hall of Famer in University of San Francisco back in February. Congratulations, big guy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes,
Right.
thank you very much.
So, so in this unusual circumstances, we know there's a lot of things changing because of the coronavirus, because of the COVID-19.
Yes.
Let me ask you, how do you keep in shape? How do you keep yourself, I don't know, healthy or entertained during these self quarantine days?
Oh man, it's tough because like it came so quick. Like literally, I was over there 10 days ago, and we were gonna play in the last series 2 weeks ago before they canceled everything. So it's kind of a shock to your body and your mind. You go from playing like towards the end of a season, you're already 3 months into a season, and you're like on the last month and a half, right before the playoffs, and then all of a sudden this corona things hits, and then you're like over there for a couple days, and you're back home, and then you're just like, whoa, what the hell happened? See, for me it was crazier because I had came home for the Hall of Fame thing from February 15th through February 23rd. I was home for like 8 days, and when I was back home, none of this was going on.
Yep.
And literally I get back like a week after I get back, it's still nothing really going on, but like the first week of March, it just started to like pop up a lot. So it was kind of a shock because I had just came home, and then I left literally for 4 weeks, and then I already was back home again because of this COVID-19. So it's kind of like a shock to your body and your mind to go in that season. You're working, you do preseason, you do the regular season, you're almost at the end of the regular season, right before playoffs, and then all of a sudden your season is just cut off. So then you get back home and you're trying to process it all, and then you're like, and then there's still a certain sense of uncertainty about everything. So then you're kind of just like looking at the news and you're like, what the hell's going on? So then for me, what I've been doing is just turn off the TV sometimes, be like, all right, I just got to go outside and just run. I don't even know what I'm running for. I'm just going to run. Like just in case something changes, or just to keep my mind sane. Like I picked up cooking. I'm self quarantining for my wife and my son. They're at my mother-in-law's house 5 minutes away. So I've took up cooking. So now I'm like cooking at home, which is healthier because I haven't had any fast food because I hasn't really left the house. So, I think it's just a time where everybody's like not knowing what's going on, and they're all kind of just decompressing. I think it's actually good for us though, maybe to slow things down and kind of just be with family and friends and kind of in the house, I think.
Yeah. Do you do your own groceries?
Well, now that my wife's not here, I do. When my wife's here, she usually shops and cooks. I usually go to my mother-in-law's house a lot. She cooks like the best Mexican food. My wife is Mexican, so we eat like the best Mexican food ever. But right now I'm having to, cook. She drops groceries off at the door, and I like say bye from 6 feet, and that's it. I bring the groceries in and I cook, Mm-hmm. There's another thing here that we have, like kind of like meal services. It's called Blue Apron. They package everything and they bring it to your front door. It's like healthy meals, and you cook them on the stove and in the kitchen, and I've been doing that too. So.
Well, the Indonesian right here also, want to ask you if you also pile up your toilet paper.
Nah, man, I don't understand. Nah, I don't get that, man. I don't understand that at all. My wife, she shops at Costco, so we already, before this whole COVID-19 thing was happening, she would always stock up on like paper towels and toilet paper because at Costco they sell it in bulk. Okay. So before this whole craze happened, we already had that. But I do not understand why people are buying toilet paper. I think it just became a trend. Somebody did it, and then everybody started doing it. And I think people, when they panic, they don't think. Yeah. They don't know why they're buying toilet paper. The water and hand sanitizer kind of makes more sense, but toilet paper doesn't make any sense, actually.
Well, let me ask you this. During this your self-quarantine, if you can name one food that's the most essential for you, the most important food that you have to have every day, what it is? Is it
well,
milk?
I mean, I have to have water every day. I mean, but if I had to say food, lately, what I've been making like for myself lately, or what I've been eating, or what?
Yes. I mean, well,
if I had to say one essential, I mean, everything is revolved around, I feel like in America, everything's revolved around meat and carbs. Right. So, I mean, in the morning, the thing I've been eating a lot of is just for snacks and maybe breakfast every now and then is just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
All right. Okay.
I've been eating those like either for breakfast or as my snack. And yeah.
So PB&J it is.
Basically, man, that and some grilled cheese. But then, like I said, for dinner and lunch, I'll cook like an actual meal, and then I'll save enough for lunch and dinner and like divide it, and then I'll have like 2 meals.
All right. Hey, let's talk about the basketball a little bit now. You've been in IBL for the last 3-4 seasons, and what do you think about the last season? What do you think about the IBL in your own opinion?
This season that was just stopped, or
this season just stopped.
Man, like it's so crazy because like it feels like it got stopped. Like it feels like I haven't played in like a month or 2 at least, dude. Right. It's so weird. Like my mind is like literally almost drawing a blank when it comes to the season for some reason. I mean, the seasons are always short in the IBL, 4 months, 5 months. So the fact that we were like 3 months in and 12 games, you kind of, don't really have a big sample size of what is kind of going on with the league. But I mean, the good thing about this year, I think, was the fact that they had 3 imports, because I think that made the competition higher. Even though there was only 2 allowed on the court at once, I think having 3 kind of still made the level higher. And I think, the quality of imports, including the returning guys, I think was a pretty good level, considering, our salary cap that we deal with, and considering the height limit that we deal with. I think we were able to get a good group of imports considering those 2 kind of constraints.
How do you feel about the competition inside the league in the last in this short season? I mean, we've seen you battles with Mike Glover, for example. Is it something that improve in the right direction where this league's heading?
I think it is. Like I said, the first year, you got to play against. There was unlimited height the first 2 years. For the big man, for me, 6'2" for the guards, unlimited for the big man. So, played against CJ Giles, like these guys, Anthony Simpson, Savon, Goodman, these bigger players, I think was very good. I think it was very good to have guys like CJ in the league, along with some of the guards that we had in the league, Gary and, Dom Will and, those kind of players, Gibbs, Wiggins, and Bradford. I think those level of players, the first couple years was really good. And then, you know, then you slide into year 3 and you have, you know, a height limit. And I think with the height limit, they were still able to get quality players. You know, I was here. Mike Glover played PBA also. You got a guy like Goodman. I don't want to miss any people because I'm, you know, but those are the big 3 that come to my mind. I'm trying to think, am I missing any other player that would be, you know, I just think those 3 for sure. Those 2 guys I have the hardest time with. So I think those are naturally the 2 guys that come up with the most is the best matchup, I think. But and then like my guy Bridge, he's balling this year.
Yeah.
So I think like, you know, when you add these 3 imports and the 6'5", you know, I think the IBL is kind of doing a lot of testing. They're like, okay, let's try 6'5", let's try unlimited height, let's try 3 imports, 2. I think they're just kind of tinkering with things, and I think that's what you have to do in order to kind of get a stabilization of what you want to do in the future. You know, you look at a league like the PBA, they go year round, right?
Right.
And this is something that the IBL could think about implementing. They have 3 seasons, right? They have an all local thing, all Filipino.
This
They
in
have a
PBA,
6'5"
right?
and under,
Yeah.
and they have unlimited. So they're able to do their locals are able to do their own little all local league. Then they have one for unlimited height, and then they have a 6'5". I think that would be a cool thing to implement in the IBL, because the players will be able to play year-round and get year-round training, and then they'll have their own local. They'll get to play against tall guys, and then they'll get to play against, you know, 6'5" guys.
Right. So I think that's most reasonable, and I think it's also beneficial, especially for the young player, local player, to prepare himself, not just being thrown into the IBL and facing the Americans like you.
Exactly.
Dior, well, after all these coronavirus things, you know, going away, and then hopefully things get back to normal, and the league started again. Would you plan to come back to Indonesia, or do you think this is it for you?
Yeah, no, I plan to come back. I mean, obviously, you know, things have to definitely calm down here in the U.S. so I can be like sane, and my family has to accept. And then also, as long as stuff in Indonesia is going better, then I don't see why not I come back and finish, you know, unfinished business, especially if it's going to be only maybe 1 month, maybe 2 maximum to finish the season. I think that's definitely a big possibility. You know, I'll probably be taking a lot more precautions when I'm there, honestly. You know, I'll probably be definitely taking a lot of precautions when I come back. But ultimately, as long as the situation here is calmer and the situation over there is calm, then ultimately, you know, we got a job to do. And, you know, as long as it's a safe environment, or as long as it's safer and we can protect ourselves and the league can help protect the players as well, then I don't see why we don't come back and finish the job at hand.
Okay. Last questions for you. Other than yourself, who would you pick as the MVP for this short season in the IBL?
Oh man. I mean, you know, when you're thinking of an MVP, you're thinking of it comes down to a lot of things, right? I have this debate with Bridgewaters a lot. He always says, and he says it best, he says there's a difference between the most valuable player and the best player. Most valuable means if you take that player off that team, how good are they without him? Best player means best skill, best overall game, offense, defense. That's best player. So there's a difference. So if we're talking MVP, we're talking a guy, if he's off that team, how well do they fare? Now, when I think of the teams, I always also think of the category of winning. So it's a twofold question. It's like, one, he has to be producing, and also they have to win. So when I think of those players, naturally, the guys I think of, NSH is doing phenomenal. So naturally, a guy, you think of as a Mike Glover, because they're you know, they're 10-4 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And he's been the driving force behind them winning. You know, Wiggins does his thing, but I think this year Wiggins has taken a little bit of the backseat to Glover, whereas last year Wiggins was kind of the man on NFL. So Glover definitely is a player, I would say. And then obviously you got to go with the guy like Savon Goodman, you know, on Louvre, because of his energy, his, you know, things of that nature. And then after that, you know, SM has played very well these last couple games. They've kind of come out. So Gary is another guy I guess you'd have to say would be in consideration, just because they've kind of turned it around a little bit and they're playing a lot better. I don't know who's the fourth place team in the league. I don't know if there's any. You know who's in fourth right now?
The fourth, it's actually between Pelita, Jaya, Satria Muda, NSH, and I think it's I think it's Pacific. And
Louvre, yeah. So I mean, I like Jacobo. I like him. I think he's a little bit further down than us three, us four. I'd say he's a little bit maybe behind Gary fifth.
Right.
And then you got a couple guys that are, you know, it'll be interesting to see a guy like, you know, if Hung Tua makes the playoffs, you know, obviously, you know, if they do, will be like a Q Cotton type guy, because he's put up numbers and stuff. But I would say right now, I would have to say it's between, you know, obviously I feel like myself, but obviously I would pick Glover and Goodman, I think, as the top three players. And the funny thing about MVP, now correct me if I'm wrong, no big man has ever gotten it yet, which is very, very disappointing. And we're trying to hopefully somebody changes that this year, and that the big man is no longer extinct.
That's why I keep posting on my Instagram, you know, series after series, you know, the way that I grade player, so that people can see and not forget, you know, the MVP should be given for players that consistently playing impressively every series. It's not like, oh, he's impressive in the fourth and fifth series, you know, because I still remember him doing such and such things. I want people to remember that from beginning, from the first series until the end, to see their performance. And I think you're right. You and Mike Glover actually my top two players to get an MVP if the season ends as supposed to be.
Exactly. There you go. That's fair.
All right. All right, Dior. Nice to talk to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see you again in IBL pretty soon.
Hopefully, man. They're saying June or July, so let's keep our fingers crossed, man.
Okay. Let's pray for the best. Thanks, Dior. Nice to talk to you.
Okay, Reedy. Okay, man. I'll talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.